Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is week 22, episode 22, another week, another cup of tea. And this week, we're going to talk about a very broad topic. And the beautiful thing about a very broad topic is that it relates to more people. And that is just the fact that people have the mentality that, something can't happen to them. And honestly, even though it can go both ways, I think today we're going to talk about the negative, the negative things that people don't think will happen to them. Yes, there are positive things. I mean, fuck, people probably think they can't win the lottery, but obviously somebody wins, right? Eventually. And shit like that, people getting the job of their dreams, people, getting the house of their dreams, the car of their dreams. Obviously, good things, happen and people don't think it'll happen to them. But I feel like more people have the mentality that bad things can happen to them. For example, the most broad thing that happens to everybody is death, right? Let's let's be morbid here. I feel like everybody thinks they're invincible. They're not going to die. They're going to live a nice full life. They're not going to die till they're 80, 90, 100, whatever. And that's simply just not the case. I could turn this camera off and my podcast and die before I post it. I hope to God not. I hope to live for a very long time, but it's as simple as that, is that in any second you could be gone. It's just that simple. And with how crazy the world is now, fuck, you can't even send your kids to school. You can't go to a grocery store. You can't go to a concert without having that in the back of your mind. Like, what happens if some crazy ass motherfucker pulls out a gun and shoots the place up? I mean, it's fucking, it's sad, and it's dark, and I hate being a downer, but you can't go anywhere without worrying about it. So, I mean, that's the biggest thing is, I feel like everybody thinks they're invincible. Everybody thinks they're going to live like a long life. And, they're just going to treat poorly throughout their life. And maybe, when they get to like 90, they'll start treating people better. I don't know. It's fucking sick. And speaking of death, because again, everybody dies. Everybody's going to have their time. Again, I hope to be here for a very long time, but that's why I said in, I think my first podcast, it was either my first or my second, but I think it was my first podcast at the end of it. I said something along the lines of, be here for me and support me while I'm here. Don't wait for me to be gone to, say, oh man, that guy was creative. I loved his brand. I loved his content. The kid was great. That it's just so fucking stupid, dude. I've seen it happen with family, with friends. I've seen it looking from the outside in on other people. People aren't around for somebody or they treat somebody poorly, and then something happens to that person, whether they're terminally ill or they pass away, and all of a sudden people want to be around. People want to say positive things about them. It's just so fucking gross, dude. Same with celebrities. You see an actor die, an actress die, a musician die. You see a celebrity die, a football player, and all of a sudden everybody's like up their ass, like, oh my God, their movies are great, their songs are great. They become like, top song, top album on iTunes. Their movies like the number one trending movie on like streaming services. And you wait for those people to be gone to like be supportive. And I mean, using celebrities, that was kind of a very over the top example, but I mean, it's true, man. That's why I said in my first podcast, be here while I'm here. I expect to be here for a long time, but whether I am or I'm not, be here while I am, man. Because again, I know how fucking pathetic people are that they don't support what I do. They talk shit behind my back, but the day I'm gone or the day if I ever get very, very sick, they're gonna want to be around. And it's so fucking stupid. I know who those people are, man. And hopefully you too. So I think a lot of people see who support me. A lot of people see who is around in my life. So I think they'd see a big difference if something were to happen to me. But yeah, so there's that. I think a lot of people have that mentality that they'll be around for a long time. And let's talk about illness. Anything can happen to anybody. I think people have the mentality of, they see in the movies that, somebody got sick, somebody got cancer. Maybe they know somebody that got sick, that got cancer, that got some sort of terrible disease. But the mentality is, that won't happen to me. That's not going to happen to me. It won't happen to me for a long time. I don't know, man. It's fucking stupid. I just, I don't get it, man. My whole point of this is life's too fucking short. Anything positive or negative can come your way in a heartbeat. And that's why I just always say, man, like be around for people, be around for people you claim to love and claim to support. God, I mean, that's something I've heard so many times. I've heard so many people tell me certain people are proud of me, they love me, but I've never heard it come from the actual person's mouth. Fucking crazy, dude. Um, fucking crazy. Yeah, it's stupid, man. Life's too short to deal with that bullshit. Um, you know, and like with COVID, let's talk about COVID. No, COVID is not a. I got a text message. COVID is not a political topic. It's not. You know, I don't know why it ever was. I don't know why masks were ever a political topic. It's fucking stupid. People just making everything political. But let's talk about COVID. You know, people were literally dying of COVID. People who didn't believe COVID was as deadly and as dangerous as, you know, scientists and doctors were trying to tell people. You know, people didn't believe it. People ended up dying. There was one story of some stupid ass bitch that went to like a like fuck COVID party or so. It was like a bunch of stupid ass people throwing a party, no masks, you know, no distancing, just people who didn't believe in the vaccine, people who didn't believe in COVID, and she ended up dying of COVID. And it's you might say it's fucked up that like I laugh at that, but it's like how can you not? There's this fucking redneck woman that I know of, and all over Facebook it was, man, you know, COVID's a joke, Dr. Fauci's a joke, you're not gonna fucking put the vaccine in me, blah blah blah. And it's wild because I think like her whole family ended up getting it. It's hilarious. Like the whole family's so like against, you know, vaccines, against, you know, believing in science and like doctors. But then it's funny. So I think like her daughter got COVID, and like her daughter was on her daughter was on oxygen. And she was like all over Facebook begging people for their prayers, whatnot. And then eventually the daughter did get better. She got out of the hospital. And then as soon as the daughter was better, this redneck woman was like back to bitching, like, oh, COVID's not real, it's a hoax, blah blah, Fauci, Biden, whatever. And then I believe she got it, the redneck woman got it. Then she's back on Facebook like begging for prayers. At one point she was telling people it wasn't COVID, it was pneumonia, but then it came out that it was COVID, and she was like begging for prayers. And then she was out of the hospital, she was better, back to Facebook, bitching, crying, whatever. And then her dad was in the hospital with COVID, and she was begging for prayers, but then also telling people that the hospital wasn't treating him right. The hospital wasn't treating him right because he wasn't vaccinated, that the hospital wasn't letting her see him because she wasn't vaccinated. Like, don't blame the fucking hospital for your dumbass redneck decisions. You know what I mean? Like if you're stupid enough not to get vaccinated, don't be mad at the hospital for not letting you into where people are sick and dying. God, she was just blaming the hospital for everything. Like, maybe if your father wasn't a fucking dumbass and got the vaccine, he wouldn't be in the hospital like this. Just stupid. Like, they just kept blaming the hospital, and they're like, oh man, we're gonna transfer him to a new hospital. Like, every hospital is gonna do the same thing. If you dumbasses aren't vaccinated, they're gonna do the same thing. You're not gonna be able to see him. He's gonna get treated the same. I just think it's so hilarious because it's that mentality that, you know, nothing bad will happen to me. So, you know, people were bitching, oh man, COVID's a joke, vaccines don't work, and then these dumbasses don't get the vaccine, they get COVID, they're in the hospital on oxygen, you know, though, asking for prayers on Facebook. It's kind of like when people are like chain smokers and they smoke their whole life. And they have that mentality that, you know, I'm not going to get lung cancer, or maybe they just don't care that they're going to get lung cancer. And then they get lung cancer and they're asking for prayers and they start like a GoFundMe. Like, I don't feel bad for people like you. You know what the risk is of smoking cigarettes. And you chose to do it till the negative thing happened, and now you're begging for prayers and begging for money. And nah, man, fuck that. That whole mentality of nothing bad will happen to me, it's just so fucking stupid. I just don't feel bad for people like that. But I mean, really, that's all I gotta say on the topic. You know, again, anything positive or negative can happen to you in a heartbeat. So, you know, just enjoy life, do your thing. Don't be a fucking dick. We're not at the end yet, so, but you know, as always, don't be a dick. But I think we're at the end of this topic. So next week, we're going to talk about something that I'm actually really excited to talk about. It's something that's in the very early stages. And by early stages, I mean very early, as in nothing more than a thought. And the thought isn't fully decided yet. But as you people know, I love spreading the Black Sheep brand. You know, it started as Black Sheep Apparel, and I'm doing the clothes, and I'm still doing the clothes. And thank you to everybody who's bought clothes, shown interest in the clothes, you know, talked about doing different designs and different things with the clothes. And then I expanded it to the podcast, to the Black Sheep Podcast. As always, thank you to everybody that listens. Thank you for everybody who tells me they're listening. I love knowing who's listening. I think it's funny, you know, obviously more people listen than the amount of people that tell me they're listening. And I think it's funny. I think a lot of people just listen because they're afraid they're going to get talked about. But look, if you've never done me dirty, if you never treated me like shit, if you've never treated me poorly, you have nothing to worry about. You got nothing to worry about because I'm not talking about you. And if I am, I'm speaking positively of you. But yeah, so it started with Black Sheep Apparel. Now we're at Black Sheep Podcast. And I would love to start spreading the name even more and being helpful for those who feel like they're the Black Sheep. Because I think people have the narrative and even the image of, oh man, the Black Sheep is not a good thing. And it is. So next week we're going to talk about something that I am planning on doing with Black Sheep, like a third section of Black Sheep. And again, it's in the early stages. Next week we'll talk about ideas I have, and really what I'll be looking for is feedback from people, and people that have my back, people that want to be a part of it. I'm excited about it. I'm really excited. So until then, stay beautiful. Don't judge people. Don't be a dick. As always, peace out, Girl Scout.